You ever notice how people change when you stop feeding them attention? How ignoring them doesn't make them disappear. It just makes them desperate. You think silence means peace, but all it does is pull back the curtain, gives them a stage to expose themselves, to show you exactly who they are. You ever stop talking to someone and suddenly they can't stop talking about you? Like they need your name in their mouth to feel important. See, people hate losing control, hate being ignored. Because when you stop reacting, they lose their grip on you. And that's when you see it, the real them, the bitterness, the desperation, the truth they tried to hide. Because the more you ignore, the more they reveal. The more you step back, the more they stumble forward. And when they do, when their mask finally falls, you'll realize they were never who they pretended to be. You ever see how people panic when they lose control over you? It's almost pathetic. At first, they act like nothing's changed, like your silence doesn't bother them. They throw out casual messages, little hooks, testing the waters. Hope you're okay. Been thinking about you. You good? But there's nothing genuine about it. It's just bait. Because the moment you don't bite, that's when the shift happens. The sweet words start tasting bitter. The concern turns into criticism. The check-ins turn into accusations. Oh, so you think you're better than me now? Funny how you switched up. I always knew you were fake. See, silence is a mirror, and when they look into it, they don't like what they see. Because without your reaction, without your validation, without your energy, they have nothing. That's when they get sloppy. That's when the exposure begins. They start talking about you to anyone who will listen. They rewrite history, paint themselves as the victim, twist the narrative to make themselves look better. And why? Because they need someone, anyone, to believe their lies. If they can't control you, they'll try to control the way others see you. But here's the thing, real ones don't fall for it. Because truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how much they try to distort it. And you don't even have to lift a finger. Just keep watching, keep ignoring. Because the more desperate they get, the more they reveal. The real them, the one hiding behind fake apologies, forced smiles, and carefully crafted manipulation, starts spilling out for the world to see. The insecurity, the bitterness, the need to always be in control. It's all laid bare. And that's the beauty of your silence. It's not weakness. It's not defeat. It's the final test. The moment where they prove, with their own actions, exactly why they never deserved you in the first place. So, let them talk. Let them expose themselves. Let them panic in the space your absence created. Because the more you ignore, the more the truth comes out. Funny thing about people like this, they don't need love. They don't need loyalty. They don't even need respect. They need attention. Even if it's anger, even if it's hatred, even if you curse their name and throw venom their way, it still means they matter. It still means they exist in your world. But silence? Silence is deadly. It eats at them. It makes them restless. They can't stand the idea that you're out there, living, breathing, moving forward, without them. So, they test you. At first it's subtle. A comment, a like, a message just vague enough to make you wonder. Hope you're doing okay. Guess you forgot about me. Some people change, huh? Translation? Please acknowledge me. But when you don't, that's when the mask shatters. That's when the desperation kicks in. Because a person who once acted like they loved you will turn into your biggest enemy the moment they can't use you anymore. Watch how fast they switch up. One day, they were your biggest fan. Now, they're out there running their mouth, rewriting history, twisting the narrative to make themselves look like the victim. Suddenly, you're the bad guy, the selfish one, the one who abandoned them. You didn't expose them, you didn't call them out, you didn't do a damn thing, you just stopped feeding them, and now they're starving. So they lash out, gossip, lies, fake sob stories to anyone who will listen. All of it in a desperate attempt to get something out of you. A reaction, a response, a sign that they still hold space in your mind. Because to them, losing your attention feels like death. And the worst part? They don't even care if you hate them, just as long as you're still looking their way. Just as long as your energy is still tied to them. But you've already moved on. Let them talk. Let them twist the truth. Let them burn themselves to the ground trying to get a rise out of you. Because the more you ignore, the more they expose exactly who they are. You ever notice how people's loyalty fades the moment you stop giving? How the ones who swore they'd always be there suddenly go quiet when you're no longer bending over backward for them. You stop explaining, stop fixing, stop saying yes to everything. And just like that, their whole attitude changes. It's funny, isn't it? How they never had a problem when you were doing everything for them. But the second you pull back, you're the bad guy. They call you distant, cold, selfish. But where was that energy when you were running yourself dry for them? Where was that love when you needed something in return? See, people like this never cared about you. They cared about what you could do for them. And when you stop giving, that's when you see them for what they really are. Users, opportunists. They weren't your friends. They were just benefiting from your kindness. At first, they'll act confused, like they don't understand why you've changed. Like you're the problem. You're different. You've been acting weird. No, you just woke up. You just stopped playing their game. And when they realize they can't drain you anymore, that's when the real them shows up. Some will ghost you, vanish without a word. And that silence, that's all the proof you need. Others will get angry. They'll start talking behind your back, spreading lies, painting you as the villain, because they can't handle the fact that you are no longer under their control. But let them talk. Let them leave. Because the moment you stop giving is the moment you see who was only there to take. See, fake people have one fatal flaw. They don't know how to be real. They spend so much time pretending, lying, manipulating, that when you take away their ability to control the story, they start falling apart. Watch how they scramble when they realize they can't twist the narrative anymore. At first, they'll play the victim, whisper half-truths, spin their little sob story about how you changed. They'll make sure everyone hears their side before you even get a chance to speak. But here's the thing. You don't need to speak. You don't need to defend yourself. Because when someone is fake to their core, all you have to do is step back and let them self-destruct. And they will. They'll talk too much, lie too often, try too hard to convince everyone that they're the victim. But real ones, they see through it. People start to notice the cracks, how their stories never quite add up, how they always have drama, always have a problem, always need someone to blame. And eventually, they run out of excuses. They expose themselves. Not because you said anything, but because that's who they've always been. And you just watched it happen. See, the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's letting them prove you right. So don't waste your breath. Don't explain. Don't chase. Just wait. Because the moment you stop playing their game is the moment they lose. You ever notice how the people who doubted you, betrayed you, counted you out, suddenly start paying attention the moment you rise? See, they thought leaving you broken would be the end of your story. They expected you to beg, to chase, to crumble under the weight of their absence. But instead, you evolved. You took the pain and turned it into power, took the silence and made it your strength. Now, you move different. You think different. You are different. And that burns them, because they see it now. Their absence didn't destroy you. It freed you. They thought you needed them, that without their validation, their approval, you'd be nothing. But now they're realizing they were the ones who needed you. They needed your energy, your kindness, your presence, but they won't admit it. Oh no, they'll never say it out loud. Instead, they'll watch from a distance. They'll scroll through your life like a ghost, lingering in the background, searching for a sign that you still care. They'll throw little jabs, little whispers, hoping to provoke you, hoping to pull you back into their world. Because the thought of you moving on, of you thriving without them, it's unbearable. But here's the truth. You've outgrown them. They don't have access to you anymore. Not your mind, not your heart, not your life. And that's when it really hits them they weren't special. You were. And now they have to live with the fact that they lost the best thing they never appreciated. Funny, isn't it? The ones who thought they had power over you are now the ones powerless. They swore they didn't need you, acted like you were replaceable, like losing you was nothing. So why are they still watching? Why do they still check your page, still mention your name, still bring you up in conversations you're not even part of? They act like they've moved on, like you never mattered. But if you never mattered, why do they still care? See, people like this, they don't miss you. They miss the control they had over you. And now they have to live with the fact that you don't care. You ignoring them hurts more than any words ever could. They expected a fight, expected you to beg, to chase, to explain. But what did you do? Nothing. And nothing is what destroys them. Because when you fight back, they still matter. When you argue, they still exist in your world. But when you move on, when you go silent, when you act like they never existed, that's when the tables turn. Now they're the ones desperate for attention. Now they're the ones feeling invisible. Now they're the ones realizing they lost someone they'll never get back. Funny how people start to appreciate you once they've lost you for good. They didn't care when you were there, took you for granted, thought you'd always be around. Now they understand. But understanding won't save them. They had chances, too many. They wasted every single one. And the worst part? They know it. So they test the waters. A casual message, a "how have you been?" a fake apology, dressed up like they've changed. but you see through it. Because once you've seen someone's true colors, you can't unsee them. The lies, the manipulation, the way they drained you and called it love. It's all clear now. They don't miss you. They miss the version of themselves that had access to you. They miss how you made them feel. The validation, the comfort, the security. But that version of you, gone. The door they once walked through so easily, locked. They know they can't come back. And that's what haunts them. Because it's not just that they lost you. It's that you never looked back. And now they're left with nothing but silence. You don't need to scream. You don't need to prove a point. Because silence, it does all the talking for you. They wanted you to lash out, to fight, to break. Because if you did, that would mean they still had control, that they still mattered. But you didn't give them that satisfaction. You gave them nothing. And nothing is the loudest thing they've ever heard. At first, they brushed it off, told themselves you'd come back, that you just needed time. But time passed, and you didn't return. You didn't reach out. You didn't even flinch. That's when the panic set in. They started watching, checking your page, lurking in places they swore they'd never go back to, asking about you in conversations where your name should have been dead to them. But you were too far ahead to notice, too focused on your own growth to care. They used to think ignoring you was power, that their silence would make you chase, make you beg, make you question your worth. But now, they know the truth. The real power? It was always yours. Because while they were playing games, you were building something real. While they were trying to break you, you were becoming unshakable. And now, they're stuck with the regret, stuck with the realization that they destroyed the best thing they ever had. The best part? You didn't have to lift a single finger. They wanted to break you. Instead, they exposed themselves. Now they're just another name in your past, another lesson learned, another reminder that some people only value you when you're gone. And when they finally understand what they lost, you'll be too far ahead to care. They wanted your energy, your attention, your time. They fed off your reactions, thrived on your response. But now, all they get is silence. No anger, no explanations, no second chances. Just the cold, brutal quiet that forces them to face themselves. And that's what destroys them the most. Because silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of power. It's the reminder that they never had control, that they were never as important as they thought. And by the time they realize it, you'll be too far ahead, too untouchable, too gone to ever look back.